And today we are going to be making flower crowns and answering questions that you guys gave us over on Instagram. So yeah, that's what it is.
Hi everyone.
You want to introduce yourself and your YouTube channel and all that?
Sure, I'm Mama from the Turtle Herd, and I get really bored and live a slightly nomadic life, so I go on adventures and post videos about them, and having adventures with Marty this week. It's loads of fun. That's me.
It's exciting. There's not very many people on today. I wonder if more will hop on in a minute.
I can't get these apart.
Do you need help?
No, I just need to try harder maybe.
Do you need the snip so you can like cut it?
Yeah, that might work.
Like how much fussing with my base do I do? Because it's only going to get beat up.
Well, as you wear it and put it on your head, the shape will change. And I never have been able to like actually keep a round base. It's kind of like my rings. My rings never stay round. They're always like weird shapes.
Okay.
And so, I mean, and it's probably just me because I know other people that wear rings all the time and they actually stay round.
You're just really hard on your rings?
I don't know how that happens. I don't know what I do different. I don't know what I do.
I can't answer that for you.
I don't know what I do. I mean, because it's like, I don't know. I guess I could be harder on my rings.
So we're gonna need like these to wrap these wires nicely.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, right?
What are you saying?
Like just wrap these ends nicely.
Oh.
We're gonna need to use the pliers.
Yeah.
Cool. What are people saying? Hello from North Idaho. Hello.
Hello from North Idaho. I live in North Utah. Sometimes.
Yep. Sometimes. 50% of the time these days?
Yeah,
that?
right now it's about 50%.
Yeah, you're doing a lot of travel right now. Hello, flower ladies. Why, hello.
Okay. There's some that aren't completely separated.
Okay.
But if you want them separated, it'll be easy to separate them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so where did mine go? Is that on my head?
It's on your head.
I found it.
I'm glad you found it.
It's like, hey, I lost my glasses.
I'm gonna look all over the house for these glasses that are on my face.
Okay, so I'm gonna use these three as part of my base. I'm okay using all three?
Yeah, because I'm going for yellows and probably some light pink.
Perfect. I'll probably put some yellows and some pinks in here. So the thing that, like typical flower arranging is you do everything in odds. So you do 3 flowers or 5 flowers or something. For some reason, that's like standard flower arranging.
Okay, we don't necessarily have odds of everything, but we can pretend.
But I'm just saying that when you put that on, when you put things on, think odd numbers.
Well, it's like when you put buttons on the front of a jacket or a vest, you want an odd number.
Yeah, why is it that we prefer an odd aesthetic? Like, that's basically what it is. It's saying, oh, we want an odd aesthetic.
Maybe because things look too uniform if they're even.
Maybe.
And so, but
it looks more artistic if it's odd.
Maybe. I could see that being the reason.
I don't know. But yeah, as humans, we tend to say, I want an odd aesthetic. Which is weird.
Humans are weird.
Get the base of these 3 lovely flowers in the front, and then I'll start filling in.
Those remind me of, were they clovers? Like the little flowers that like look like this that used to grow on our lawn? No, because clover looks
crocus. Crocus is what you're thinking.
Yeah.
The little ones that would pop up in the spring and then we'd just mow over them.
Yeah.
Purple, yeah. Crocus.
Okay. That's what those remind me of.
liked crocus because I like spring, and it was like, yay, winter is finally over. We have crocus.
Okay, how about that? Just 3 odd of those.
I like it.
And then we'll fill out the rest. I'll probably leave the back fairly open.
Yeah, I actually started from the back, so now I've got to scoot my flowers.
I mean, we're working in the round, so you really just...
Yeah, but I don't want that to end up where it's visible.
Oh, yeah. That's fair. I should have gotten some floral tape, so that way we could have just wrapped the back of them.
Yeah, that's what I usually use to finish them, but that's okay. We can still do that, just not today. While we're live.
Yeah. Ooh, there's 10 people on. That's an improvement. I love the photo of you and your mom with the plane. So cute. Yeah.
That was a fun one to get.
That was a fun one to get, and it wasn't planned, and we were invited, because it was at a museum, and we were invited behind the ropes to take a picture because we were in cute outfits, and they really liked our outfits.
And they were so excited to share their plane with us. It was fun.
The plane's name is Sunny.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were just so excited. They're like, oh, before you leave, you need pictures with Sunny.
Yep. And that was the director.
Mm-hmm.
Well, director in training.
Yes, he was very clear.
Yes.
Director in training.
Yeah, we were at the Waco, Waco Airfield and Training Center. And if we would have planned ahead, we could have actually gone for a flight in Sunny, and that would have been amazing, but we didn't plan ahead. So
it's alright. Maybe on a future visit, now that we know it's there.
And it was also unplanned because I don't have any of that period clothing.
Yeah, she wore my clothes.
So I wore hers.
She was wearing my clothes.
Yeah. And I was worried that they wouldn't fit. And they were pretty good. I mean, I'm
You're
not
smaller than I am.
I'm not quite the same proportions though. My torso's an inch longer. Like everything needed to be down an inch. My torso and my legs. Well, if the torso would have been down an inch, the legs would have probably been just fine. But that just kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit baggy, but I don't care. But yeah, it was the torso thing was the hardest for it. All right, what do I want to do next as fillers?
That's a good question.
I don't want to go white because they're already white. I need something dark, but I don't have good.
Do you want like these off-white?
I don't like, maybe these.
Those bright ones?
Yeah.
As long as you save a couple for me, we're good.
How many do you need?
I don't know. Maybe 3?
They're a lot the same, I mean different size, but same color.
Oh, maybe I'll go for maybe I'll go for these lighter ones.
Okay. We'll see. Alright. I didn't see what people said.
Oh. Cute, so cute, you looked adorable, and said you guys are so amazing.
Thank you. We do enjoy each other's company.
Very much so.
For sure.
To the point where it like makes other people jealous. Because remember in the Azores, they were just like, your mom is so cool. I wish my mom was like that.
Yeah, so we can tell that story of the Azores. That was a lot of fun. So because I am a very adventurous person, and I really am an adrenaline junkie, when we went to the Azores on a family trip, I planned, they call it canyoning, but we call it canyoneering, where you rappel and hike down a canyon. I booked it because I wanted to go. I was by far the oldest person there, by at least a decade.
If not more.
Yeah. And of course, I was also slower than everyone else. But that's fine. I'm used to being
normal.
Like slower. But everyone was telling you and the boy that, oh, you're so lucky your mom came with you on this trip, and they just, both of them just started laughing, and they said, it was her idea. This isn't us.
This is her.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
It's true. I do take you guys on adventures you would never go on.
Because I just wouldn't think of it, honestly. I wouldn't think of it when I was, like, doing my own trip planning.
But I do realize that not everybody likes to go, so I do allow, when we go on trips, I just say, what do you want to do instead?
Yeah, like the husband would have never
No.
done the canyoning.
No.
He probably would have really enjoyed sitting at the bottom with a book, though.
I'm taking pictures of us when
Yeah.
we came through.
Yep.
All right, so should we answer a question?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about that.
Okay. Do you have one that you want to ask first?
No.
Yellow or red? Ooh, that's a hard one.
For you? Yeah.
That is a hard one for me.
I would choose yellow. She can deliberate.
So I love red, and when I do clothes, I do red. I also wear some yellow, but not as much. But I love yellow. I always gravitate to yellow flowers, yellow accessories, yellow decorations, and like head wraps are always in yellow. I would say it's not a main color, but it's definitely a color that I have in my life a lot. So that is a very hard question. Who asked that one? Carolee Cosplay. Good question, Carolee. You made me think. Next question, Anna. And what's that one? You know your name.
Oh, I don't know how to pronounce her name, but we talk all the time.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how to pronounce a lot of people's name, and I always feel bad when I, like, try in case, like, I get things wrong, so.
Okay,
Sorry, guys.
so Anna, well, you'll know by the question I ask. And you'll have to like send us a pronunciation guide for your name because it's cool and I want to know how to say it. Do you like hiking together? I think she tolerates hiking with me.
Yeah.
I don't think she likes it. I think you just tolerate it. And when I go with her, I go on shorter, easier hikes. We're definitely planning hiking this weekend. But it's going to be very simple hikes. In a couple of weeks, I'm planning a difficult 8.5-mile hike over a mountain range and down to a lake. There's no way she would ever go on that with me.
No.
But the boy would totally go with me. So when I'm out like doing high adventure or long distance adventure and I want an adventure buddy, I take him with me.
Yeah.
Because he's definitely on board.
He's more of, like, the backwoods country adventure, and I'm,
Yeah.
like, the casual stroll.
Yeah. We got reactions to that one.
Did we?
Yeah, so we meander together. I wouldn't say we go hiking together. I would say we go on walks together.
We walk together.
We take strolls about the garden.
Yes.
We do a daily constitutional.
How Regency of us.
How Regency of us. Yes, I would absolutely say we are the women's Regency version of exercise.
Yes. All right. I got the whole your mom is the coolest when I was younger as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it. I love cool moms.
Me too.
I didn't have one. So
I think adventurous moms are, like, severely
but
underrated.
I did have a couple of friends in college, one friend in particular who did have a cool mom, and I went to her house and studied her mom. Like, I took notes because I wanted to be a better mom than the one that I had, and like more adventurous, more involved, and yeah, I took notes and ended up being okay, I think.
I think you were a great mom. I mean, compared to everyone else I grew up with, I pretty much had no rules.
Well,
I had rules, but it was different, right? Like, it was always a conversation.
correct. Yes.
It was never like, this is how it is. It's
It was
always-
never, your curfew is at 10 o'clock no matter what.
Yeah. Which, if that's what it would have been, that still would have been generous compared to some friends.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
It was like 9 on the dot. If you are not home, you will not see anyone for the next month.
That's terrible.
I know.
That is terrible.
Yeah, comparatively, I had no rules.
Yeah, that's true. I need some foliage. Will you throw me some, probably these leaves?
The
When you get a chance.
felty ones.
Yeah.
Here. There's those. Oh, those aren't the same felty ones, are they?
They're close enough.
Okay. I should probably put some foliage to fill out mine.
Alrighty. Ooh, ah! Drop.
This is so nice. I want a spring or summer flower crown.
Make it, make it.
Ooh. I do that once a life. Literally do that once a life.
Well, now everybody knows where you got it from. Just kidding.
No.
I'm
That's
usually
all my
not.
own.
Usually not. So off balance.
Usually the off balance is all purely me and my inability to do anything. Oh, I want the leafy ones. The grassy ones.
Yes, those will be pretty with those flowers. Look how they match the same hue.
Yeah. They probably
Yes.
came off the same sprig.
Probably. They're perfect.
What if I cut them so I have more?
Good idea. All right. Another question?
We're just blowing through these questions. That's okay.
I'm very curious about the Banad. Oh, this is Anna again. She
Yeah.
sent us 2 questions. Its history and your connection to it.
Okay, that's one that we can talk about, but we don't have a lot of answers for.
It's true.
So I think I've talked about it on my lives before, where we have Norwegian heritage. So Banads come from Norway, and it is their traditional folk dress. That is basically all I know. I know what the, so Bertha Louise was the one who immigrated in the early 1900s. And I know what region she came from and what her regional Banad would have looked like. But that's literally all I know. Do you have more information?
About the Banad specifically?
Yeah.
Well, we can back up and talk about Bertha Louise. So Bertha Louise is a very interesting character. And I love that you have kind of connected with her without really knowing a lot about her history. Because
Yeah.
I feel like her independent spirit, you match her independent spirit really, really well. Which is
Yeah.
kind of an interesting connection with you, because you were just saying, I love Bertha Louise, and you didn't even really know her history to know why
Yeah.
you may have a connection. But she grew up around Oslo, Norway, which is their,
Mhm.
I think it's their capital. I probably should check that sometime.
I think, I think Oslo's the capital.
Yeah,
of
and so
Norway.
she grew up in Oslo, and her father was a tailor.
Really?
Her father was a tailor, and she spent a lot of time in his tailor shop. Yeah.
Was
Isn't that the coolest thing?
Yeah, because so growing up, context for learning, I learned how to sew by watching Mama and my grandma. Like when I think of like early people who like were sewing and doing crafty stuff in my childhood, those are like I think of you two.
But we were definitely not tailors.
No,
We're seamstresses. We're not
Yeah.
tailors in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, so her father was a tailor, and she spent a lot of time in his shop. And what happened was, I don't know what happened to her mother or how old she was when her mother died, but her mother did pass, and her father remarried, and her stepmother absolutely hated her. Like,
Yeah, like wicked stepmother
despise
status,
her,
right?
totally fit the wicked stepmother, and basically kicked her out of the house when she was like 16 or some insane like young age.
And that's when she immigrated to the
No,
US?
she didn't. Not
Okay.
not at the beginning, because she didn't have enough money. So she
Okay.
actually worked for another, I think, 2 or 3 years. I think she was about 19 when she finally had enough money to get on the boat and come to the U.S.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and now the other thing that I don't know that I think we could find out pretty easily if we dug is I don't know how she met Grandpa or Frederick, which was her husband.
Yeah.
I don't know how she met him. He's from Denmark, so they were both in like Scandinavian.
Yeah.
And so which meant that they would have been in the same communities in the United States because, you know, people of the same cultures really flocked together.
Yeah, because it was a familiarity thing. I mean,
and so she would have met him there, but I honestly don't think she met him until she got to Utah. I don't think she met him anywhere on the way, but I don't know that for sure. And then they lived in the Garland Tree Mountain area in northern Utah.
So right about where you are now.
Yes, just over the hill. Yeah, that's where they lived, and that's where my grandma, because Bertha Louise is my great grandma, so that's where my grandma grew up. She grew up in that area, and that's where she met my grandfather. They lived in she lived in my grandmother and Bertha Louise, and they lived in Tree Mountain, and my grandfather lived in Garland, and they're right next to each other.
Yeah, they're like neighboring towns.
Yeah, absolutely.
If not touching.
Yeah, I mean those are small towns, so they don't touch, but they went to the same high school. They would have gone to the same activities. Even though it's really funny because my grandfather doesn't ever really talk about courting my grandmother. He did talk about a bunch of other girls that he dated, but he was in such a way that it was almost like he was making fun of them. Like, yeah, I dated this girl once, and like, oh, this was funny. And he never ever said anything disparaging about my grandmother, and so that may be why he never talked about like actually dating her. But
that's funny.
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah, they were my favorite people. Like, I loved them. So my connection, I don't necessarily have a really tight connection with Bertha Louise like you do, but I do with her daughter, which was my grandmother. I actually spent quite a bit of time with her in her home when I was younger. So it was very cool. But so that's our connection to Norway in general, and it's just more like we don't really know a lot about Norway, and we don't really know a lot about the customs and how they celebrate holidays and things like that. But it is something that we have been slowly kind of investigating for the last, I don't know, I'd say year and a half. And it's something that we would love to eventually get to the point where we do not every year, but I think we would love to do like very Norwegian-based Christmas holidays, and just say, hey, we're touching base with whatever, because that. And then, so the connection with the Banad is just, hello, have you seen them?
Yeah.
So I love embroidery, and any type, especially whitework embroidery. And I learned embroidery for her christening dress. I actually made Hardanger lace edge and insets on the bodice for her christening dress, and that's when I learned it. And it started me on a path of whitework, cutwork embroidery that that's where I go. And I've delved into needle lace and lefkara lace and reticella, and it just snowballed from there. But
yep. So we got a hello from Denmark.
Hello, Denmark.
And a hello from Norway.
What?
And Anna just joined the live.
So, hello from Denmark and Norway. You guys need to teach us things because we want to learn things, but we don't know. And so that's cool because we could do both Grandpa and Grandma Hansen from Denmark and Norway. So, will you guys teach us things, please?
Yeah, just send me like a DM or something on Instagram.
Yes, we seriously.
Or send her a DM because I don't always answer mine.
Yeah, I answer. Honestly, seriously, we're not joking. We are very serious about really learning. Like, we love the food. We want, like, the tradition. We want the food. We would love to learn.
Yeah.
Anything. It's really strange because my grandparents just never, they just never celebrated, like,
their
heritage. We were very much like, let's do a whatever traditional American holidays are, because every family does them so different.
Whitewashed.
Yeah. So we never did any, and I would love
sanitize.
to. So.
Maybe sanitize is a better word.
Yeah.
American traditions are just sanitized.
Yeah, that's a very good place. Can you hand me the clippers?
Yes.
So I can clip this apart.
Yeah. So
yeah.
What really the bonads and everything else comes down to is we just want to reclaim our heritage. I mean, that's the basics of it.
Yeah, I have a hard time with it though, because I know we should do a regional one. That's like, we should do one this is regional for.
But so
for
I've
Oslo,
heard that but I'm not doing a regional Oslo one.
Have you seen the Hardinger ones?
Okay, so from what I've been told is like people generally just go for like whatever they think is pretty.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
That's what I've been told.
All right. So
you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I've been told.
Hello from Norway. If that is not the case, let us know. Otherwise, we will proceed eventually with the banad that, and I think we probably even say that wrong.
No, it's bunad. I got the correct pronunciation.
Awesome.
Because I was saying bunad before, and they were like, no! And I'm like, okay, so it's bunad.
Yeah.
Which I think is a better pronunciation than like bunad, which is what we've been saying quickly.
Yeah. Bunad. Boon.
Bunad.
Okay. Oh, so you put the N on the other.
Yeah.
Ah, that's cool. All right, perfect. Anyway, so that's where it comes from. It's definitely going to be an ongoing kind of discovery process as we figure out
it's traditions that my children will remember having because we made the effort of creating them, not necessarily ones that we will have like before. I think we'll put more of an effort in when I have children.
Probably.
Or when
my
brother has children.
We're going to need to test out the food beforehand.
Oh, yeah. For me, it really started when I started celebrating Christmas with my husband's family, who was very German. And I just went, why don't we have traditions like this? And I just kind of felt really connected to the Norwegian heritage and like wanted to go that way.
Yeah.
These blades of grass are not staying in, so I'm gonna need to get like other flowers to help hold them in. Would a splash of purple be? Yeah,
yes.
That's too much.
Or the bright pink.
I think I want to go with some of this green.
Okay. You're gonna keep it more monochromatic.
Yeah. Like I like how I have a splash of pink in here for like a very.
But it's not a strong pink.
Yeah. I'm also gonna get these matching bits of greenery. So let's see if more comments. Well, traditionally, you should just choose a banad from the area where your family comes from, or where you live now. But it's not so strict anymore, and many choose what they think looks nice. So
nice.
You could do a Hardanger banad.
Yay! I mean, I know I've looked at so many of them. I've kind of picked out what I would do.
Yeah.
And now
I just want Hardanger on my shirt. I want you to make me a Hardanger cuff and collar, like
super
collar
easy.
cuffs.
Super easy. Yeah, and now that I've like tackled this German dress, the bunad does not scare me as much.
Yeah.
The embroidery on it is pretty intensive though, especially if you do ones that have the full vest of the surface
hems.
Embroidery.
See, that's
the
what
Hardanger doesn't scare me at all. So
yeah. The surface embroidery is what's really intimidating me too, because I'm just not an embroidery person.
Yeah. It's just not what it would take some trial and error to figure out, because it's not my typical embroidery style, so it would take me trial and error to figure out like what materials and
I think it's all
fibers
wool.
to use. Is it wool for the embroidery too?
I think so.
It would make sense because it would fill out. It would fill the space well. Wool.
Yeah, and it's from what I've seen, like all the fibers are thicker.
Yeah.
And things. And it is like, it's definitely the style of embroidery that I would enjoy doing. I just don't really enjoy embroidery. Embroidery's not my thing.
It's true.
I pretend sometimes. I used to pretend more.
We definitely have the lanes. We definitely have our lanes that we enjoy.
We do. Oh, that leads into another question. Do you sew, Mama?
Do I sew? Yes.
But no. But yes. But not like that.
So,
whatever that TikTok is.
Yes. Yes, but no. Now, my history of sewing is this. I grew up in a very rural town. And I was middle of a very large family.
Yes.
And we were not allowed to do a lot of things. The one thing I really, 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 really wanted was swimming lessons. And I was told, no, you can't have swimming lessons.
Is that how come you were so adamant about swimming lessons for us when we were
Yes.
little?
Because I think
It's a practical skill.
it's a safety issue, honestly.
Yeah.
It's a safety issue.
Especially when we would go camping so much. Like,
Yes.
learning to swim and learning to rock climb were safety issues. They
Yes.
weren't hobbies.
Correct. It's a safety issue. So I just didn't want to do that. And so other people want to do swimming apparently too. Anyway, lots of comments.
Aspiring costume designer YouTube channel has been investigating her German heritage. That's awesome.
That is really cool.
I love all these projects. I know there's a couple of people that are using their YouTube platform to explore their heritage, and I think it's so awesome. And I was originally going to do my bonnet project last year for Christmas, and it just didn't work, and it doesn't look like it's going to work this year, but I think next year I
We'll
really
get to
need
it.
to make it
Yeah,
happen.
I think that's feasible. Yeah. All right, so back to my sewing history.
Yeah, sorry.
So we were allowed, I don't know what it was, but if the activity that we wanted to do was school related, i.e. like a school club or something like that, we could do it. But we had to pay for it. So if anything required fees, we had to pay for it. So it was very difficult for us to like pick on like cheerleading, for example. It was never going to happen because there was no way I was ever going to raise the hundreds of dollars that you need for cheerleading. And then I got really sick in high school. I ended up with lactose intolerance and IBS, and it took long story. It took 2 years for them to even figure out what it was. And so we're fine. Like I did other things. So school clubs and 4-H. 4-H was huge where I lived. And if we got involved in a 4-H activity, we could go. And for a lot of it, I don't know why we had to pay for our school activities, but for a lot of 4-H activities, my parents would pay for it. It was like this weird.
I never understood like what wasn't acceptable.
I never understood, and I lived it. Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the 4-H clubs that I got involved with was a sewing competition. And it was really awesome because it led to a couple of other opportunities, and I did other types of competitions, and those competitions took me like out of state, took me to Lake Tahoe for a camp. It took me to Denver a couple of times, took me to San Antonio. Like 4-H was awesome because it took me out of
Out of your small rural
out
town.
of my small town. And one of the things that they did was a sewing competition. So I did a sewing competition, but it was very, very strict. You had to pick a pattern and you had to follow the pattern. You were judged on how well you followed the pattern. You were judged on...
I would have hated this.
Yes, it would have killed you to do these competitions. And you were judged on your construction based on the skills in the pattern, how complicated the pattern was, and how well you followed, like, for example, welt pockets and things like that in suits, right? And you were judged on how well it fit you. So you did have to do some tailoring to make it fit you, but again, just within the confines of the actual pattern. And then the only thing that I failed at is they had a like a runway competition where you had to wear your outfits and like model it on a runway. I didn't know how to model. I'm just awkward. So I didn't model very well. But when it came to the actual sewing, I always got like 99s to 100% on my sewing. Like I was top marks on my sewing, but I never won the competition because I didn't know how to model. I didn't know how to model. And this was all like just me doing it, but my mother was very, very strict, and she would unpick things and give them back to me to redo. And I remember one outfit that I did where I probably got unpicked and resewed 5-6 times. It was a nightmare, and I was just in tears, and I was like, leave me alone, I don't want to do this. But the outfits were pretty cool, but I don't love sewing, and I think the restrictions on me at that point, because I remember being younger and I sewed all of my own doll clothes, and I thought it was so much fun, and so that's why my mom got me started kind of with these competitions, because she thought, oh, she's good at it, she can do this. But then it turned into a job, basically, right?
Yeah.
And you don't want a job when you're 16 years old. I mean, some people do, but I didn't. So yeah, it was just kind of interesting. So when it came time for you to learn how to sew,
You had the complete opposite approach.
yeah, so she could sew pretty much what she wanted. And also I can sew. I'll just throw that out there. I can sew, but it's not my favorite thing to do.
And we approach sewing differently. I feel like that needs to be said.
Yes, I still to this day cannot sew without a pattern. I cannot sew. I can alter patterns, and I can I can do some basic altering. I can't do complex altering. But if you ask me to pattern something, deer in headlights, I can't do that. I cannot pattern anything. I cannot drape it. I cannot make it. I just can't.
And when did I start patterning?
I don't know. You were like 13, 14, 15.
And you were like, here, have this thing, go look for a pattern. And I'd be like, but what about this dress I just made with the thing you just handed me?
And then I said, so I found your first dress form at a yard sale.
Yeah, that's Alice. Alice is
Yep.
right here. Still have her.
Yep, found her at a dress form, paid a whole like $20 for her, which if you've tried to purchase a dress form, you know that was a pretty good steal. And I don't think you stopped from there. But
I went on a small hiatus when I was working at the tailor shop, but that's just because the tailor shop was so toxic and I didn't want to do my hobby.
yeah, that's fair. The other thing though is you didn't start sewing. You started crocheting.
Yeah.
So when the kids were little, I didn't do a lot of what I really love to do, which is embroidery. Like my embroidery is
That's your love.
what I love to do. And I do some pretty complicated things. Like it's not something you just sit down. I mean, I sit down and pick it up and I veg out, but I'm reminded constantly that my level of embroidery is not normal.
No, it's not. It's extraordinary, and you should celebrate it more often.
Yeah. So I couldn't do a lot of embroidery because the two kids were pretty close together, and also I had serious postpartum depression for the first 2 years of her life. Serious. And this was like before anybody really talked about it. I had no clue what was really going on. I was just trying to survive with 2 very little children.
And like very little help.
Yeah, very little help from the community, from family, from everyone. It was a nightmare. And then all of a sudden, I don't know why, something changed. And when you were about 2 years old, I was like, ooh, I felt like this weight had just been lifted off me, and I felt like I could breathe again.
Isn't that when we started having coherent conversation?
Yeah, probably.
It's when we could have conversation is when you started feeling better?
No, a little bit before that, because that really happened when we moved to Farron, and that didn't, even when we moved to Farron, you were like almost 3. So yeah, about that same time. We started doing kind of those types of things, but yeah. So I did a lot of crocheting, and you wanted to learn crocheting, and so you probably like, I mean,
I was young.
yeah, we were only in Farron for 2 years, and we moved to Farron when you were 3, So between, right?
I don't know.
98 to, oh no, that was in the, I would say like 5 or 6 years old you started crocheting. You started crocheting
Really that little?
You were young, really young when you started crocheting. And honestly, people, I taught her how to do a single crochet. I tried to teach her a double crochet and she was like, don't even bother. Like, I don't care. And so I taught her the single crochet and she figured out like increasing and decreasing. She started making doll clothes out of crochet. Because I wouldn't let you touch the sewing machine yet. You wanted to start sewing and I wouldn't. Because you were like 5. I wasn't going to put you in front of a moving needle.
Yeah, you need to be like 7, 8 before you really start that.
Yeah, so you started crocheting and she was crocheting the cutest doll clothes. I am not kidding. Super duper cute. And you figured out the increase, decrease. You even figured out ruffling, shell stitch, double crochet. Like you just started making up your own stitches, and you'd be like, "Look at this stitch I made up." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's a shell stitch." And then you'd get mad at me for having a name for it.
Mm-hmm.
It was really funny.
That sounds like me.
It was like, "I made this up." Oh yeah, well it's just a shell stitch. Shut up! I made this up. Anyway, so that was a lot of fun.
Don't take away my moment.
Yeah, exactly, like that. So it was kind of funny to have that, but yeah, so you started the crocheting, and then when I felt you were safe, then I moved you to the machine. But again, I taught her how to do a straight stitch, and then she like pretty much just took over from there. So I didn't even really teach you. I tried to pull out a pattern and teach you how to follow a pattern, and you couldn't do it. Like your head just didn't wrap around it.
Yeah, I remember following patterns because you would sit down with me and show me each step.
Yeah.
But when I tried to do my own, it was just like, yeah, no.
Yeah. That was really interesting. And then I started seeing what you were making, and I was like, why am I trying to force her into patterns? Like, just go for it.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Yep.
Yeah, I learned, I don't know, I just felt that kids should find their own path, and if it's not the path I had in mind, that's fine, so.
Because you really wanted to be a soccer mom, and neither of us wanted to do soccer.
I did want to be a soccer mom, and you both hated soccer, and so I had to learn to, like, be a rock climbing mom instead.
Yeah.
But that's not terrible. I love rock climbing now, so we're good. But yeah, so yeah, long story short. I didn't teach, I taught her how to thread a machine, but I wouldn't say I taught you how to sew.
Yeah.
In any way.
I would also say, like, for people thinking, oh, she started sewing at 8, she must have been phenomenal. I didn't take sewing seriously until I was, like, 16. Yeah. Is when things really started looking better, and I started taking things seriously.
Yeah.
But that also meant that, like, I had 8 years of, like, basics under my belt.
It kind of drove me crazy, though, because you don't like to finish things, especially when you were that age. You didn't like to.
Better?
Yes, you have gotten a ton better, but at that age, I kept trying to say, you need to you need to finish things better, and you would just get so mad at me for saying that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, but it makes such a difference in your, you know.
Yeah, and to me, it was wearable, so it was good.
Yeah. So
I still get to that point. I still procrastinate finishing work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. I'm not surprised, honestly. But yeah, I think you working in the tailor shop really helped you see the benefit of a good finish.
Yes.
Whether you do it or not is still, totally up to you, but at least now you see the benefit of them.
Yeah.
Where I couldn't get you to see that. Like, that was beyond my ability. I couldn't get you to recognize that.
It's like, pick your battles with your children, and that wasn't a battle we could fight.
Mm-mm. If you were gonna wear it and you didn't care, I didn't care that you wore stuff that wasn't finished. I didn't care.
You're like, I'm not the one wearing this.
Exactly. Yep. I wasn't worried about it. So. Yep. Alrighty. So that's our history of sewing. So I do.
We have about 15 minutes left.
Okay.
These hours go so fast.
Alright, what else? What other questions did we have? thought on your daughter's sewing. We kind of talked about that. She blows my mind. I will be honest with you. She blows my mind in what she does with her sewing because it's so far beyond anything I have ever done that I think it's fantastic. And I proudly show her pictures to everyone.
She does. We'll talk on the phone and she'd be like, oh, my boss said this about your bell dress. And I'll be like, oh, cool.
Yep. I share them all the time with stuff, so I love it. Favorite sewing project of hers or mine?
Both.
I don't know that I have a favorite of yours. I love yours for different reasons.
Yeah.
I love what you do when you do like when you get passionate. Whatever you're most passionate about at the moment is really awesome. I think I do like the medieval ones just because they're showier than your current like history bounding. But the Edwardian like Eddie dress is fantastic.
Eddie showed well.
Yeah.
Eddie shows well.
And I love a good lace insert, so yeah. I love lace, anything lace. So
I feel like this side is decent and then this side is so sparse.
yeah, I'm working on the same thing because I'm sparse down here.
But, like, how's that look? It's very Anne.
Yes.
Mine is very Anne.
My favorite sewing project would at this moment, just because it's the only thing I've sewn recently, would be my German Kranich gown. It by far is the most complicated sewing project I've ever done in my life. Also, it took me a full like 8 months to get it done. It's still not 100% done. There are a couple of just minor pieces that I want to do, and that's just mostly for me. I'm putting needle lace on the edges and stuff like that, but that's just a personal preference. So it is done, and it is by far like the most complicated. So that would be my favorite sewing project. However, my favorite embroidery project
That's a totally different question.
Yeah, so I did a veil of left car lace that is still to this day my favorite embroidery project. And it is just because of it was my first piece. It was so much fun to learn. It's a style that I absolutely adore. I've done one other piece in left Cara style. I have everything to start on a third piece. I know exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be a really beautiful, beautiful apron. When I get to that point, I thought I was going to start it last year, but COVID is weird. It like sapped my creativity.
It sapped a lot of people's creativity.
So I didn't do a lot of stuff for it, but I'm feeling better, and I think it will start. I think it will start happening now that the Greenwich gown is done.
Yeah,
So that's a
too.
favorite project. And there was another piece to that. Oh, do you also sew? Yes. How proud of you are, Marty? So proud. I'm very proud of her. Like, she has been talking about a path for her life since she was probably, I don't know, 8.
8 years old is when I started saying I wanted to go into either costume or fashion design.
Yeah.
And I had notebooks where I would just design things. And it was usually copies of things that I'd already seen. But
Yeah, but notebooks, and she would fiddle around with writing, and she would I think you wrote more so that you could illustrate than the actual writing piece of it, because she would illustrate everything. I mean, what I love about Marty is everything she sets her mind to, she figures out how to accomplish that. And I just think that I love that tenacity of anyone, but especially in women.
You might need to say that a little bit louder for the mic, Mama.
But especially in women, I think women should be forces of nature, and I feel like you are a force of nature in your world.
I really try to be. I mean,
Force of nature doesn't mean that you're a hurricane. or a tornado when you come in
It's
and you
true.
blow things up. It just means that you do your thing and you do
do
your
it
thing.
well.
Yeah. Yep.
Do your thing and do it well.
Yes. I think something, I don't know what to put there.
I think I need more yellow.
Okay. One other question. Oh, what do you think of her pattern line?
Ooh, we were talking about this earlier because I
Okay.
shared it with you when the question came in.
Yeah. Again, she's been talking about having patterns for years, and I'm just so excited that it's finally here. I love it. I have not made anything from her pattern line yet because I don't sew. But
You really want the overalls though.
after wearing the overalls this week, I knew when I saw your pattern, I knew I wanted a pair of overalls. And then after wearing them, I really want a pair of overalls. So, and it was cool because wearing your pattern, now I know what adjustments I need to make to the pattern.
Yeah, but like you don't even need to make a mock-up.
Yeah, I don't need to make a mock-up. I'll just lengthen the torso. Move the back pockets. I have to move the back pockets out.
Yeah.
I don't know how she puts them so far. I feel like I'm doing wing exercises.
Maybe I'm more flexible here than
Maybe.
you are.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, so I need to move the back pockets, make them a little bit longer, but yeah, I like the pattern, so it's nice that I can do that. So I do want overalls, because I am a pants person. She wears dresses. I know.
Yeah,
I
I'm
wear
very
pants.
much a dress person.
Yeah.
I felt really called out like a while ago when I was just, you said something along the lines of like, I don't know how to wear pants. I was just like, yes, but you don't have to call me out like that. So, have there been comments I've missed? There have been. Okay, let's read through these. Sewing is a great skill to have and it helps save money. No, it doesn't, but I appreciate your thinking.
Well, it depends on what you're doing.
That's true.
Because when you're like reupholstering furniture or you're doing like tablecloths and placemats, and I feel like clothes for little kids, you can save money on. But when you get into the really,
When you get into what I do,
yeah, it's not.
I don't save money. I actually have to specifically budget
Yeah.
every month.
But when you're doing like household things like fun pillows and stuff like that, absolutely. I think that does save money. Especially when you repurpose things. Like I love making pillows out of like dish towels that I find and things like that you can get like at dollar stores or on sale or something, so you're not buying this super expensive fabric. There are ways to save money.
I
with
just
sewing.
don't play that game.
But I did. 'Cause
I know you did.
we were kind of poor when you guys.
Oh, why would Grandma unpick your projects?
Because I did it wrong. Obviously. Didn't you see? It's like one stitch crooked, so you're going to unstitch it until it's perfect.
So, Grandma unpicking your sewing is a lot like the nitpicking that I had at my tailoring job. Very similar.
Yeah. Because it's not good enough. I mean, it was frustrating for me, but really that's just one of the ways she showed love, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that. Love hearing about your sewing and crafting histories.
Cool.
I feel like this went more green and pink than yellow.
Yeah, probably. But yours is, like, mine's not full enough. I'm going to have to work on it for another little bit to get it
Should we take this camping with us?
fuller. I think we're going to have to.
I mean, there's enough here where we could make, like, at least 2 more, I think.
Yeah. I think I just need to put more foliage on it, honestly.
Yeah.
And just kind of fill it out.
I kind of want to, like, take those and make another one,
Nice.
right? That would be really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
So I still have some that just aren't in because I've just been wrapping them in with wire.
Yeah.
And then I have more grass and stuff that needs to go in.
Yeah. So, any other questions?
Yeah, we're gonna, well, like, that's the end of our submitted questions. Do you guys have questions? Like, I can,
How's that looking?
really good.
Oh, it's not bad. I'm going to look in the mirror. Hold on.
You go do that. I'm gonna put mine on.
Oh, okay, so I need to fill in underneath with foliage, and then I think I'm good. Cool.
Yeah, mine is very Anne.
Yeah.
Just the way
kinda
it,
like
like-
wild free spirit.
Yeah.
Okay, what foliage do you guys
Here, let me just pass this down to you.
Okay, perfect. Whoa.
Please don't break my
I
table.
really almost went over that time.
Please don't break my table. This is a semi-expensive table. So, do you guys have more questions for us? We are getting close to time, so. I think some of the pink and purple of those would be really cute in yours.
Yeah.
Because we have pink, purple, and yellow.
Ooh. Nice.
Just to give it more spray and dimension.
Yeah.
Like that. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of them would be really cute.
Yep.
This was very enjoyable listening to you both.
Aw, thank you. Thank you for joining us.
I think it's because you kept yours really close to the frame and I just let mine be.
Yes, very different styles.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I'm like, why does mine just look so
Yes, it's the way you
wild? Yeah. I mean, I really like it. It's gonna be fun to hang on my hat wall.
Yes, it will be.
Just something different.
Mm-hmm.
I do want these little bits of more yellow in though. Have a great afternoon. Oh, we will. We're going camping.
We are going camping. We're gonna go wear our garb outside for the first time in over a year. It's gonna be so fantastic,
It'll be a lot of fun.
and we're gonna get lots of funny looks because we're not at an event where everybody's in garb.
Yeah, I actually like want to keep my camera like semi-recording every time we like go walking around camp, so we can catch those people being like, "Why are you dressed up?"
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna be pretty fantastic. So,
Why are you dressed like that? Dressed like what? Well, why are you dressed like that? Did you put conscious effort into how you dress, or are you just like pointing it out because it doesn't look normal to you? I'm in a sassy mood. I won't actually tell people that because I'm too shy. This turned out super cute. Alright, I don't think we have any more questions.
no, we had some, I think, goodbyes.
What's your mom's Hogwarts house? I'm a Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, 100% Ravenclaw.
The husband is a Slytherin. He does not want to be a Slytherin, so he claims Hufflepuff.
That's funny.
He just really does not want to be
What's the
Slytherin.
boy? What do you think? What do you think the brother is?
Or Ravenpuff.
A Ravenpuff?
Mm-hmm. I think he's a straight split between Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw.
I can see that.
I would, if I had to pick a house for him, I would pick Hufflepuff.
I would agree on that one.
He is such a Hufflepuff. Because he's all about, like, people and community and, like,
Yep, absolutely.
that's just who he is.
That's funny.
Yeah.
No Gryffindors, though.
No, we don't tolerate Oh, what if the brother starts dating a Gryffindor?
Then we'd have all 4 houses and we can have games.
We could. But one of us would have to sit out or else Ravenclaw would be offset.
That's okay. We could figure that out. Somebody has to be the moderator
It's true.
of the game, so we could totally have
Can you-
house games at our family trips.
That's totally something we would do.
It is something we would do.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
We totally
Oh.
do it.
Do you want mushrooms?
No.
Okay.
Do you?
Not in these, but in future crowns, yeah.
Cool.
I just got 100 mushrooms and, like, I didn't even use half of them. Anyway. Alright. That is all we have time for because we've got to go set up our camp and... Yeah.
I'm ready. Ready?
Yeah? That's what these look like?